You're welcome back. This is the Pulse. Of course, your comments are welcome here via our social media handles on X Spaces, on YouTube, on Facebook, and of course, on myjoyonline.com. Now, lecturers in Ghana's public universities are threatening to do what? Withdraw their services if government fails to urgently address the environmental destruction caused by illegal mining. UTAG says its members are alarmed by the devastating impact of Galamsey on the environment, water bodies, and public health. The association believes that the government current response is inadequate and is demanding stronger, more decisive action. UTAG warns that without tangible progress soon, its members will be left with no choice but to lay down their tools in protest. Let's bring in the president of UTAG, Professor Akudugu. Prof, you're welcome to the program. Good afternoon. Yes, Prof, if you can hear me, Prof. Mamadou Akudugu, if you can hear me, good afternoon, welcome to the program. Well, we'll try and see if we can get Prof back on the line to understand the reason why they've taken this action as of now, because this will not be the first. In fact, in the run-up to the 2024 election, UTAG took a similar position, but they had to back down, and I will find out why this action this time, and of course, whether this will work. Let me see if we can get the attention of Professor Mamadou Akudugu. Prof, good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
Good afternoon to you, and good afternoon to your viewers, and thank you for having me.
Right. So why now? Why this time?
Well, maybe the questions would be, why not now? Anyway, we think that the time has come for us to really take this issue of Galamsey seriously. Mm-hmm. And it appears that we just talk and then we go back to bed, sleep, and then the business continues as usual for those illegal miners.
Right.
So we strongly, after reviewing what the government has done over the past 6 months, we strongly believe that we needed to remind His Excellency the President of the commitment he made prior to becoming the President of the Republic.
And you don't see the commitment by government to deal with this matter? Government has taken some steps.
Of course, we acknowledge those steps that government have taken, but we just are of the strong opinion that those steps are not, they are not far-reaching enough to reach or to create the kind of impact that we are looking for.
What exactly is UTAG demanding? What do you want to see done?
We want to see Galamsey absolutely, completely eliminated. We want to see our water bodies regain their integrity. We want to see our environment get back to its statutes. We want to see the health implications that are beginning to emerge in Galamsey communities and even communities outside the Galamsey areas. We want to see those emerging ailments reversed, and we want to have a country where there is rule of law and there is respect for our environment, and there is that commitment to ensure that we hand over as inherited from our forefathers an environment that can guarantee the survival of future generations.
But you do recognize that, I mean, in the last 6 months that this government has been in office, they've taken some steps. Some companies have had their mining licenses revoked. They've inaugurated River Gas. The head of MIF, that's the Mineral Investment Fund, she's always been out there seizing excavators, even though after seizing them, the next day, more of them will vanish. Police officers have been transferred in mining areas to other areas to create some semblance of a government that is interested in getting to the root of this. But from UTAG point of view, What really did you consider to be the main issue why we are unable to get a handle on this very matter?
You know, all the things that you've mentioned, yes, government has done them. Even the minister reported to us that within 4 months, they made some 600 arrests. But the question is, where are those people now? Have they been prosecuted successfully?
Some are facing prosecution. The foreign ones among them, some have been deported.
Is it within the context of the law to deport wrongdoers?
Well, that's the directive the Minister for Interior gave, that foreigners arrested in many areas should be deported, and that is what the immigration officers are complying with. But
the question is, if you can commit a crime, they send, whatever they do here, the money is sent back to wherever they come from.
Right.
And therefore, when I'm caught, I can be deported to go and enjoy my loot in my country. That is not the best way to go. But beyond that, what are the numbers that have been deported? How come that we continue to arrest even minimum foreigners in the Galamsey areas? And how come that we continue to have this Galamsey going on even in residential areas, despite all the things that have been done? And so we acknowledge the fact that the government has shown some level of commitment, but it is just not far-reaching enough to be able to achieve the kind of impact that we are looking for. And so we, as researchers and as people who deal with data, we felt that it was important to remind the president that prior to becoming president, he had signed and made some commitments to what exactly he needed to do to be able to bring this under control. And we don't seem to be seeing that on the ground. And so therefore, he should go back to the drawing board and revise his notes. And let's get this work done and done expeditiously.
And from your body, from the academia, is there data or research result that points to how devastating this thing is? Because you introduced that word in most in this press statement. Are there evidence-based results that we can point to say that based on this and that is the reason why we are motivated to take this step?
The evidence abound. A recent work by one of our colleagues, forgotten the name, on testing the presence of heavy metals in cassava in some part of the eastern region, revealed very alarming results of presence of these heavy metals in these foodstuff. I think colleagues in KNUST has also done some works on deformities or mining-related deformities in children, and that is also there. Most importantly, the evidence also is clear that at the moment we do not have a system that removes heavy metals from waters. So what the Ghana Water Company does or treats the water, they only treat the water for turbidity and for the impurities, but not to remove the heavy metals. And these water bodies have been known. If you look at the recent data from the Ghana Water, the Water Resources Commission,
right,
you realize that the level of contamination is far beyond the levels that the machines that are used by Ghana Water Company were designed to purify. And so for the evidence is all over the place, and even just visual inspection of what is happening. You see in most of these Galamsey areas, the use of drugs becoming very rampant, teenage pregnancies, children are abandoning school to go into these illegal activities. What is the future for those children who have left school to engage in these Galamsey activities and all the rest of it. So the effects are there for all of us to see, and we fear for the country if we continue to play the business as usual approach with dealing with this canker. The minister described this as environmental terrorism.
Right.
Terrorists attack you. What do? You don't do engagements. You don't do. Some of the things that we do.
Right.
You go out full force to neutralize whatever terrorist attacks that you are facing. And so we expect that to be done. The president recently mentioned that Galamsey has become a national emergency. When you are faced with an emergency as a country, what do? You don't go with the business as usual. You don't go appealing to people to just obey the laws. But the fact even is that these people that we are talking about are not even in those Galamsey areas legally. They don't even respect the law.
Right.
They are in illegalities. And so people that do not respect the law, you cannot get rid of them using the law. You may have to, use some operations. You cannot do that by legislation because legislation already exists and they don't obey it. So you have to enforce, and to enforce that you need to be very tactical and kind of be unconventional in some cases in dealing with that situation.
Prof, my final question, in the run-up to the 2024 election, you issued a similar statement. At the end of it all, the threat to go on strike did not materialize. So I ask again, should we trust you that this time around you will see to the end of what you are intending to do?
The University Teachers Association of Ghana in 2024, September, October, thereabout, we made our plans clear that if nothing serious was done, we're going to proceed on strike. As member of organized labor, we got organized labor to, join. So we joined forces with other unions to get this done. Last minute, organized labor decided to chicken out, but UTAG proceeded. We declared a strike action in October 2024. And the only reason for suspending that strike action was because we got the presidential candidates. We reckoned that, yes, the government, the Akufo-Addo government was left with just a few months to go. And so we needed to be futuristic in our fight.
Right.
And so we want the presidential candidates to sign a pact committing to Galamsey. And that is the pact that we are reminding His Excellency the President that he should make sure he should work to fulfill the pact that he signed with us. So, and if it doesn't work, UTAG, we are not known to declare, to threaten to do things that we don't do. If we don't get significant actions that will lead to elimination of Galamsey in the country, we definitely pull through with our threats if need be. And I know our members will not disappoint.
Right. Professor Mahmoud Akudugu is president of UTAG. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Awula Sewa is with Eco Conscious. Awula, so you've heard UTAG. They say that they got the presidential candidate to sign on to a pact. As far as they are concerned, the NDC administration is not delivering on what they signed on to. The reason why they've threatened to embark on the strike action. After a lot of people say that as a country, we are not angry enough. The reason why, this matter is still a topical issue.
I would say that we are not angry enough. We have been told that the number of kidney disease has quadrupled. The UTAG president has said all that needs to be said. We need to understand that we face an existential threat. The president, His Excellency, the president himself, has admitted that we face a national emergency. We are dealing with environmental terrorism. So as a matter of urgency, we need to send our armed forces to the hotspots and to deal with the environmental terrorists and their equipment, remove them from the forest reserves, the land space, and also our water bodies. As we speak, The once beautiful Ancombra River has turned brown, it's been diverted, and we have no information that anything is being done to address the situation. So I think that it's about time that we took decisive action before it is too late. We are on the verge of an environmental catastrophe, and we need to act now before it is too late.
Remember that government, some commitments that were made in opposition, the NDC is in power now. Do you get a sense that they are living up to expectation?
You see, we, eco-conscious citizens and others, made specific demands. The specific demands were to declare a targeted state of emergency. That has not been done. Another specific demand was to revoke LI 2462 and even EI 144, which declassifies parts of Achimota Forest. But for the purposes of this conversation, LI 2462, a low-hanging fruit. The president promised he would do this. This has not been done. Recently, Honorable Sami Janti said that when Parliament returned from recess, it would be revoked. It hasn't been revoked.
Right.
Then we also asked for all those named in Professor Frimpong Boateng's report to be investigated. We believe that we've been promised that will be done. When we also asked for a pause in all sorts of small-scale mining, whether community mining, whatever you want to call it, because we are not monitoring. And because our monitoring regime is either non-existent or weak, it is leading to difficulties. And in some of these cases, it's just illegal mining going on. And I have to say on this program that we have activists in Atronsu who were fighting illegal mining, who were fighting the poisoning of their landscape and the Atronsu stream. Believe it or not, they rather have been charged. They rather spent about 6 days in custody, while the illegal miners did not spend a single night in custody. So when we have this sort of situation going on, it becomes a mockery of the whole justice system. And one wonders whether our fight is against the activists or against the illegal miners.
All right, we'll leave it here for now. I was going to ask, last week, for example, the Attorney General directed Yoko to investigate 2 leading members of the NDC and also take into consideration the content of the Professor Frimpong Boateng's report. At least it is giving some life, isn't it?
Definitely. Investigating those named in Professor Frimpong Boateng's report is a step in the right direction. Remember, regarding the 2 people who were named, the only concern is that other people were mentioned a very long time ago, including, for instance, the Iowin MP, who is alleged, I use the word advisedly, alleged to be involved in illegal mining.
Right.
We are not being told that he's being investigated. And because we have a pattern of, for example, as I said in Atronsu, it's rather the activists who have been criminally charged while the illegal miners are walking free. One wonders what is really happening. But we trust IACO to do their investigations. A man is innocent until proven guilty, and we'll see where the investigations lead. But we still are asking for a targeted state of emergency. We are still asking for the repeal of LI 2462, and we are still asking for a pause in small-scale mining.
All right. Awolasewa, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Of course, Galamsey will not go away and will continue to raise the issues until we have finality to this environmental, disaster. Now, let's stay a little longer on matters relating to the land, because hope has been renewed for residents of Blekusu and surrounding coastal communities in the Ketu South municipality of the Volta region, as President Mahama cast the sword for Phase 2 of the Blekusu Coastal Protection Project, offering long-awaited relief to areas battered by tidal waves. Now, addressing residents, chiefs, and stakeholders on Saturday, the President hailed the initiative as a clear sign of responsive leadership and reaffirmed government's commitment to tackling a problem that has plagued the coastline far too long.
Your cries have not been in vain. Your voices will no longer be ignored. Today is your day, a day of renewal and a day of reassurance. Togbiro Mamao, Ghana's coastline stretches for over 550 kilometers, and this is one of our country's most critical assets because it supports the livelihoods of our people through fishing, through trading and tourism. but is also among the most vulnerable to the devastating effects of climate change, particularly coastal erosion and tidal wave flooding. What is happening in Blekusu, Salakope, and Agaveji is not isolated. Similar tragedies are unfolding along other parts of Ghana's coastline, from Adana to Anglo, from Cape Coast to Axim, and we cannot continue to turn a blind eye. This project we are about to cut short for will bring relief to communities of Blekusu, Agaveji, Salakope, Amutinu, and Adina. The project represents our national resolve to defend our coastal communities and preserve lives, homes, and infrastructure. Under this second phase of the project, Messrs. Amandi Holdings Limited, the contractors, have been contracted to execute work over the period of 2025 to 2029. The project will deliver a total of 8 kilometers of robust coastal protection, comprising of 37 groins, dune restoration, reinforced embankments, and other shoreline defense infrastructure. And as the minister just told you, in addition to the coastal protection works, we're incorporating community infrastructure that will boost the local livelihood of our people. And this includes a modern fish market, cold storage and processing facilities for the fisher folk, fish drying and places for smoking fish, a car park and a lorry station, public sanitation facilities will also be provided, and a waste collection system will be put in place. So this is more than just a coastal protection work. It is a comprehensive resilience initiative, blending environmental protection with socio-economic infrastructure. W. Mamao, to ensure the success of this vital project, we must all play our parts. And therefore I call on the Ministry of Works and Housing and Water Resources, the Ghana Hydrological Authority, the Kedu South Municipal Assembly, the contractors and consultants, and above all, the chiefs and people of the beneficiary communities to work together in unity and purpose to achieve this all-important project. Let us uphold the values of accountability, transparency, and community engagement throughout the project implementation. And I urge everyone, especially the youth, to take ownership of this project by respecting the construction zones and timelines, by avoiding harmful activities such as illegal sand winning, by promoting environmental education and coastal stewardship, and by helping to maintain the new infrastructure once it has been completed. I wish to inform you also that the Waka project.
Well, so that's President Muhammad, but let's explore this matter because it's very important. The lives at stake. Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Hydrological Authority, Dr. Sylvester Darko, joins me via Zoom. Dr. Darko, good afternoon and welcome to the program.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me this afternoon.
Great. So, Blekusu,
good afternoon to your cherished listener, US as well.
Great.
Thank you.
Great. So, Blekusu may be getting help, but Blekusu is not the only place that is at risk of being run over by the sea. What should be the long-term solution to this issue?
Yes, thank you very much for the opportunity to join this channel to contribute towards the resilience, making our coastline resilient. If you may be aware, climate change and climate variability has been on the ascendance, and our coastline is not exonerated from this impact of climate change. And so, as a result of sea level rise, climate variability, as well as some anthropogenic activities, a lot of our coastlines are threatened, especially with regards to sea level rise as a result of climate change. So as the president indicated, the coastline of Ghana is over 550 kilometers. And a lot of these locations from western region, Azim, through central Adan in the greater Accra region, to Blekusu, Denu, all the way to even Aflao, are all threatened by coastal erosion as a result of this devastating climate change and climate impact. And so over the years, a lot of work has already been done at certain locations in western region, in Azim, Anomabo, Abuade, Cape Coast, Takrade itself, New Takrade, Adan in Greater Accra, and even K2, and then recently Blekusu. So a lot of work, but there's still a lot to be done.
Right.
In the sense that over this period, out of the 550 kilometers, approximately 90 kilometers have been covered, leaving over 300 and something kilometers to be covered, over 400 kilometers to be covered.
And so, that's a long way, and that's a long way to go.
That's a long way. So that's a long way. But often the problem is that, the cost of this infrastructure is quite intensive,
right?
Capital intensive. So government is rolling out programs, to cover as many places that are threatened by these coastal erosion, coastal flooding as a result of climate change, as much as possible. Apart from the structural or engineering structures that we are bringing in, we are also looking at some form of what we call nature-based solutions,
right?
To be able to complement the hardcore engineering structures that we do, because we believe that the nature-based solutions also have a very effective way of protecting our coastline.
Last year, for example, or last 2 years, when I spoke to the authority, they painted quite a very bad picture of what is to come if steps are not taken to protect the coastline, to the extent that all the way from the Volta region stretching to parts of the Greater Accra to the central to the western region, from the information we got, structures and people on that particular stretch, all of them were at risk. In fact, mention was made of the fact that even institutions like this other college and the rest were at risk of being submerged if steps were not taken to address the effects of the waves. I want to find out, we are in 2025, is the situation still the same, or something has been done to limit the impact?
Yes, so like I told you initially, work has been ongoing for quite some time now. Way back, it dates back to even in the 90s, where the Kita Sea Defense Project started. So over the years, those critical areas, and critical areas that host our infrastructure, or the towns and villages that are at risk most, are actually assessed and then provided with the protection. So, for instance, places like Cape Coast Castle, and all the forts, some of the forts along the coast are being protected. Even at Abuade, the thermal plants has some form of protection. So it's an ongoing situation, it's an ongoing work, ongoing exercise that government is rolling out. And I'm sure all the critical areas that need these interventions, will be dealt with in due course.
Yes, please go on.
Yes. So the interventions are, cut across the various regions, the coastal regions, so to speak. So it's an ongoing process. It's an ongoing exercise. So we will continue to assess the situation and then take the next step technically to be able to ensure that our coastlines are protected. Even whilst we do that, we also do some form of education, so that the communities that are at risk, will also take the necessary measures so that to protect themselves, whilst we come in with the hardcore engineering solutions.
And I'm wondering whether the authority has put a cost to this. In terms of costing it, how much do you think is required to comprehensively address this?
Yes, we are actually, I said, because as years go by, the rates of devastation, also changes because of the changing nature of the causative factors.
Right.
So, for instance, it is estimated that the coastline is eroding or being affected by erosion at a very alarming rate. So today, if it is about 50 or 20 meters, before you realize you could get to 30 meters, which means that the costs will continue to rise.
Right.
So it is very difficult to really estimate exactly, for the entire coast, how much we need at the moment, because as we go on, the processes that are resulting into this impact or this erosion are ongoing. Therefore, the cost will continue to rise if we do not do something about it as we move forward.
And you get a sense that the commitment is there to deal with it?
Yes. I have a strong commitment that there's strong sense that there's a stronger commitment on the part of government to deal with this. In fact, that is the more reason why when this crisis started coming, the Ministry of Finance gave the authorization, financial authorization, and then subsequently the approval by the PPA and all the processes that have to be gone through faster for us to be able to move fast to initiate the process so that the people along that coast, will be safeguarded. And so I have a strong sense of belief that government has a very strong commitment towards this.
All right. Dr. Sylvester Darko, thank you so much for your time this afternoon.